Grab your glasses, everybody. It's time for a Moonshine Safari. Welcome to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And you have stumbled across episode 16 of
Holy
our...
cow, 16.
16. Can you believe it? Sweet 16.
Sweet
16. Moonshine Safari, episode 16. And if you have not listened to the previous 15 episodes, Dina,
you're missing out.
Where could they find those?
They can find those on our website, which is moonshinesafari.com. They can also find those on YouTube. Just Google, put Moonshine Safari into the YouTube search engine, and you should be able to come up with it easily.
And you can connect to all of those from our website. So if you go to our website, you should be able to see Instagram,
Twitter,
Pinterest, Twitter.
All of that.
Stuff, right? So if you go there, so we'd like for you to do that. We'd love for you to subscribe so you can keep up, and you can go to go to YouTube and hit the little bell thingy so you get notifications when new shows pops up, or if we put new music or anything new up there, you'll get some kind of notification. Okay, so go to those places. All right. Now, as most of you know, those of you who listen to the show every week, and if you don't, well, too bad you miss out on some stuff, but we're glad that you're here today.
Go back and listen to the other ones.
Yeah, they're always available.
They're available.
We'd like to give a shout out to MIM this week in Phoenix.
Amazing venue.
If you guys don't know what MIM is, it's one of the largest attractions in the Phoenix area. It is one of the largest tourist attractions in the Phoenix area. What I'm talking about is the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. And it is amazing. It's over on Tatum and Mayo Boulevard, right?
Correct.
And it is amazing. Now, we've been there
Which is right off of the 101. I mean, it's really easy access.
Right. And it's so good. And the venue for music, for concerts, it's not a huge theater area, but
it's actually
it is
very
amazing.
intimate.
Exactly.
It's nice.
We're going to talk about in just a minute, which if you listened to last week's episode, you know what we're going to be talking about as far as the music coming up in the next section. But we want to give a shout out to the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. Thank you so much for and everybody who works there. I think they're volunteers in the evenings. Oh man, they're so nice and
friendly,
helpful.
super helpful.
Yeah, just amazing. And it was fun. It was a great time. We also give a shout out to those of you who are listening every week. Thank you so much for doing that. And we'd also like to give a shout out to Alamo Draft House in Tempe and in Chandler, because we love both of those.
Right.
And the reason we have is because they have been showing, leading up to Halloween, they have been showing all of the Harry Potter movies. And we are big Harry Potter fans.
I am a Harry Potter nerd.
I've just kind of joined the Harry Potter thing with the family. They've kind of all been in it since the beginning, and I kind of came in late, and so I'd not gone to any of the movies to see them on the big screen. And I must say it was very enjoyable. But Alamo Draft House is that's the best way to go see a movie.
That's Josh's idea of how you go see a movie.
Right. And I know, because the one in Tempe have recliners, which is amazing. And if you guys have been to Fat Cats, a place like that, they have recliners too. And I think some of the AMCs that do too.
Correct. More movie theaters are coming up with that. Yeah. And some of the Harkins have that.
But they have good food, and and I know it's pricier, and I get that, but you know what you're paying for when you go there, right? So you're going to pay for the good food. They have great drinks. They have great service. You don't have to worry about not sitting together because all the seats are reserved when you buy the tickets. So you just go right there, and it's just perfect for us.
There's no waiting in line there. You just go straight to your seat, go straight to your theater, and then your server will actually collect your ticket once you're there.
It's amazing. So shout out to Alamo Draft House. Thank you all.
Thanks,
guys. And follow them on Facebook. They're always they have like sing-along shows and stuff. We've not done that yet, but we'd like to at some point. But all right, coming up next section. What did Josh and Dina listen to, or what are they listening to this week? Coming up. Hold on.
What's Josh listening to?
Welcome back, everybody, to Moonshine Safari. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
And we are in the music section of our podcast. And if you guys listened to us last week, you know that on last Friday, Dina, what went on Friday?
We were heading to a concert that we had been waiting for quite some time. It was the amazing Billy Strings.
Billy Strings. That's right. If you guys don't know anything about Billy Strings, you need to Google him right now. Just pause the show, go to Google, do Billy Strings, go to YouTube so you can see his amazing ability of playing the guitar. It is just crazy. What he plays is like he does play some traditional bluegrass, but generally it's more like a progressive bluegrass is kind of what it's being called. Man, that kid can play.
Woo! I'll tell you that even our own little Robin did not realize the concert we were going to and thought we were kind of going to a live version of Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I think she expected
Right.
some guys standing up there in straw hats and overalls,
Yes.
and that's not what she got.
No, it was okay. They played, for probably 2 hours with a little break in between, and I didn't want it to stop. I had such a great time.
And
that
they
music,
just play too. They're not like overly, I think, concerned about necessarily the exact time that they're stopping. They kind of play. They just play.
They play and they jam and they play well together, and it's probably like a controlled chaos up there, but you can't feel that in just being a recipient of their music. It is amazing. It is so good, and I just didn't want it to end. So, Billy Strings, shout out to you, buddy. Great job on Friday night at the Musical Instrument Museum. And, man, it was just, I can't really.
It was phenomenal.
It was so good. It's one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of concerts, so that's kind of big for me to say that. I'm not a huge concert person, but we will give you a little hint. We do have another special little concert we got coming up in November that we're going to talk about. And we've actually featured him before on our What's Josh and Dina Listening To. And that would be, I think we did.
I think so because, we talked about him when it came into, I should say, talking about the Eagles as well, just because it was his song.
It was actually episode 11 when I was listening to Billy Strings and this person, and you were listening to this person. So I tell you what, I'm not going to tell you who this person is. So Dina gave you a hint. He was kind of instrumental in with the Eagles, and also that episode 11. Go back and listen, and you'll find out who exactly we were talking about and who we're going to go see in November, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, me too.
I've seen him before. Dina has not. I've seen him before.
Correct.
But I have not seen him in this type of venue before. I saw him a long time ago in the 90s, and he was that was back when he was jamming star, man. He was, big glittery kind of stuff. Now he's doing the show with just his guitar, and he is a phenomenal guitar player. So looking forward to that. All right, coming up, funny of the week. We're going to tickle your funny bone. Hey, Dina, I got the story for you. There was this nurse, and she was talking to this couple that were in there. He says, nurse says to the man, excuse me, sir, we need a stool sample and a urine sample. And the man said to his wife, what'd you say? And the wife says to the man, they want your underwear.
Nice. Awesome.
It's time for Peeve of the Week.
Welcome back, everybody, to Moonshine Safari. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
Dina, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. But I have noticed I did not bring a beverage in with me this week, and I'm feeling a little sad about that.
I didn't think to bring one either.
So, yeah. So I apologize if the show is not as good as it's been in the past. It is because I neglected to bring my beverage of inspiration.
There you go.
There it is. All right, so peeve of the week. This week I almost didn't have a peeve of the week. I almost said, I don't really have anything to really complain about. But I'm going to just throw this out here. And it's a peeve because we all do it, okay? We're all guilty of it. And it's just something that's popped up in our lives recently too. But, it's like we've all done it. We all do it. It's the thing that, you know, when you let a lot of little things build up in you, or you let somebody else, you know, kind of irritate you and piss you off. But instead of dealing with that person that's pissing you off, more than often we look at the person who's the closest to us, or the one that we care about, and then whether that's the person we swing at, that's the person we, you know, strike out against, that's the person we want to dump on. Because I think deep down inside we know that person loves us more,
That's
probably
the safest place,
unconditionally, than anybody else. Because if we struck out at anybody else, probably the person that we're pissed off at, they probably will run away forever. But if we go at this person has been probably, you know, swung at before, probably several times, and punched and hit, and they have probably a different perspective. Not that that person likes it or enjoys it or wants it to happen, but my suggestion is that, you know, all of us, we should start dealing with the issue at hand and not pushing it on someone else that's innocent. That's not fair. It's not fair to them. And you need to deal, and it's not fair to the person who actually needs to be dealt with, because you're giving them a pass, and that's not cool. So, and you're taking out your frustration on someone who's innocent. So that's not real justice. So, and especially anybody, and like I said, we all claim to do that. And a lot of us are, if you want to call religious, Christian, Jews, whatever, and we tout that we go by this set of rules called the Torah. Well, maybe we should look at that in the Bible or whatever. If you're Christian, New Testament, whatever, you look at it, maybe we should start paying more attention to what we're actually claiming that we're supposed to be and are. And that's what I'm saying is everybody. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not guilty, because I've done it too. Okay, so my peeve of the week, even about myself, is placing blame on someone else, and your frustrations on someone else when it's not their fault. Didn't you have anything to say to add to that?
I mean, like I said, I think that you had already touched on it, but we all do this. It's one of those things where, like, for me, I'll put it in perspective. If I'm irritated with, say, people at work, I'm usually going to try to hold that in a little bit, because, well, you can't go around yelling at everybody at your office and come home. And the problem is then my family bears the brunt of it, which isn't fair either, because they didn't do it. So it's like Josh said, you just need to, you know, okay, you can't always take it necessarily out on the people that you're irritated with, but you also need to not take it out on the people that didn't do anything to you. So, you know, find a different way to work out that anger. Freaking go hit a ball with a, you know, bat or
Well, I think my father
golf.
liked to escape into sports when he got home from work and stressful. He'd just go in the bedroom and just watch sports all in the evening, and that's kind of how he decompressed, which kind of was not, well, I mean, depends. From a family perspective, that didn't really work for us, because we wanted to interact with him a little more. But, you know, everybody has their things, you know. Nobody's perfect, but...
Josh usually picks up his guitar.
Yeah, that's that's a lot of my outlet there. Or I exercise sometimes, and, you know, that really helps out too, when I need to exercise. What happens a lot too is, like, if I haven't exercised in a while, that frustration builds up more. So that tells me a lot too about myself, is like, if I start getting really moody, I can look excuse me, and that's usually if I'm lazy, or if I'm off the diet, or if we're on a week off and I'm kind of feeling, hey, I don't feel like working out, then I start getting a lot moodier and a lot, you know, more sensitive.
Oh, and that's definitely true.
Yeah.
I mean, what
So
we're
diet
putting in our body affects our attitude.
Excuse me. Yes, exactly. So diet and everything will affect you. Absolutely. All right. That was Peeve of the Week. Coming up, Pro Tip of the Week. Get your pads and pencils out.
Get out your notepads. It's time for Pro Tip of the Week.
Welcome back to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Tina.
And it is Pro Tip of the Week.
Pro tip
Pro Tip.
of the week.
Yeah. And I have the Pro Tip this week. Yes, I've taken over the show.
That's right. Do it.
My Pro Tip of the Week is, and it's going to be very short and sweet. And I know this isn't possible in every situation, but I would say if you can make this happen, it a lot of times will protect you. It will protect your clients. It can protect a lot of folks, okay? So when you are in any type of, you know, discussion or things that you think that you're going to need some type of proof or for an answer, you need to try and get this in an email or text. You need to get it where you can prove it, okay? Phone calls, yeah, it's all nice and personal, and I understand that. Personally, I hate to talk on the phone. I really do. I would rather, you know, communicate through email and text. personally, for a lot of reasons, but one main one is because now I have everything on record. And so if there's ever any question, and that protects me and my clients, they can look and say, hey, yeah, this is what you said. Oh, you're right. That's exactly what I said. I'm sorry, I forgot, but you have it right there in writing. And then I can fix whatever mistake I've made, or vice versa. That's kind of how we do it. So my tip to you, pro tip, if you can get things in writing and emails and text and save these things, don't delete them. It doesn't really do any good. It'll protect you.
I'll back that up. I mean, truthfully, even with what I do, for instance, I usually have a folder list in my Outlook for each of my borrowers or clients, and then emails, even not necessarily from them, emails that go back and forth to other people that are involved in transactions and stuff. I put those in that folder, and I blind copy myself on all of my own emails because I think it's important that I also have record of what I said and my outgoing emails. So I would agree, because it's many, many, many times that I've been asked, hey, do you still have this document that so-and-so sent us? Why, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I have an whole email folder of this. And then even once the transaction closes, I export that folder into a file format and store it on the drive. So that way, if even in 2 years, 3 years, if somebody asks me something, I can still go back and reference those emails.
Excellent. So there you go. It's important. So keep your information if you can, and then always back it up. Remember those tips from a couple shows ago, I think? Remember the backup stuff? That's important too.
That's super important.
There you go. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about more of our personal moonshine safari. So if you're interested, stay tuned.
Stay on.
Shh. Quiet and listen. It's time for Marriage Story of the Week.
Welcome back to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
Hey, we are up to our own personal Moonshine Safari story. And if you were tuning in from last week, we were talking about the birth of Robin. And now we're going to pick up from the birth of Robin and just kind of hit some highlights about some stuff here and there. But I think we mentioned and kind of did a teaser last week about you being on some kind of, I don't know, talk show back in the 90s or something like that.
Yeah, that was after Robin, obviously. You kind of mentioned it.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at that. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. So all right. So we had Robin, and we were in...
we had a one-bedroom apartment.
One-bedroom apartment.
But it was like a big one-bedroom. Like the one bedroom was pretty big. We had enough room for a crib. And
much bigger than the apartment we moved into when we first got married.
Right.
Yeah. So Robin was in a crib in there with us. I was still working overnight.
And we had washer and dryer, which was a big deal at the time because our first apartment did not have that.
Right. So we would go to my mom's house and do laundry, or her mom's house and do laundry, or, whatever we could do. And that's how we did things. So we were there for quite some time. And we were, I was working overnights, and then she would, and you were working, right?
Not yet. I was still... we were doing the doctor's office thing and stuff like that.
Right. So, and then, that was awesome. All right. So I'll let you kind of take over to where you can tell however much you want to tell of the story.
Well, I mean, so...
how it came about, how it came to,
Well, okay. So basically my sister has always been kind of I'm trying to think how to say it, entrepreneurial. I can't say that word. She does a lot of different things to earn money, businesses and stuff like that. And she had started a business cleaning doctors' offices, which worked for me because obviously my goal at the time, since Robin was an infant, I really didn't want to work. I wanted to take care of her. And that was kind of a really big deal to me. We had family that could easily take care of her. Actually, Josh's mom would have taken care of her as much or more than we ever asked her to. So there wasn't any problem with us finding people to do it. It was just that I was her mom and I wanted to do it.
Well, we had her, and it's the way we looked at it is like, well, she's our baby.
She's my responsibility.
And there will be times that we would need people to help us out.
Right.
But
But we did it as little as possible, so
right.
that when those times come, we don't feel bad necessarily.
Right. We didn't, just drop her off at the drop of the hat. I mean, they watched them both for quite a bit, but it wasn't like an everyday thing. Exactly.
Correct.
Right.
So, while we were cleaning doctors' offices one day, my mother had actually come to help, and we're just kind of chatting, regular chit chat as we're going through this office, and she made the mention that my sister, who is quite a few years older than me, by the way, like 11 years. It's not like she's old enough to be my mother or anything, but quite a few years older than me, had asked my other sister, I'm the baby, okay, so she's several years older than me as well, if she might think about carrying a child for her and her husband, because her husband had never had any of his own biological children. He was a great stepdad to my nephews, awesome stepdad to my nephews. I could not say enough nice things about him as far as that goes. But, still kind of had a little bit, because, my nephews were not infants when he came on. They were older, and he would have liked to have had a child of his own. And I said, well, why didn't she ever ask me? I would have done it. And it kind of just flew out. I didn't even think about it. I didn't consider it. I just kind of said it. The pregnancy with Robin, other than the gallbladder issue and stuff that we discussed earlier, had gone really, really well when it came right down to it. The labor and delivery kind of sucked, but I feel like, pregnancy is pregnancy, and it's hard, and things can be difficult, but as far as pregnancies in the spectrum of pregnancies go, I did really well. So I didn't really think too much about it. And then I had heard, like I said, that my one sister had kind of said she didn't want to do that. And I thought, well, I'll do it. There had been a time in our lives when we were still at the church that we had worked at that I know that we would not have been able to even consider doing this for a family member. I don't think it would have gone over well. So, but what I did tell my mother at the time, I go, well, obviously I have to talk to Josh because he's half of this decision-making thing. This is not just my decision. I know that there's a lot of people out there that go, oh, it's your body. It is my body, but this is my family, and it involves not just me. It involves me and my husband, and actually my daughter, although she's much too young for us to ask her opinion of. So,
but we still had to take how it would impact her, how
exactly
possibly it might impact her. We had to take that in consideration.
And
Not
also,
that we asked her opinion. She was too young to give one, obviously. But we had to think about all of the possibilities.
Would there be even possible risks? Because obviously, like I said, I'm trying to raise a child myself, and I'm a young mother, and I'm a young wife, and, nobody wants something dumb to happen just because you didn't consider all the possible risks that were associated with this option. So, at the time, I talked to Josh, and he said, well, what I would need to do is, I would need to talk to the doctors, and I would need to know what the risks were to you. And assuming that there's not really, like, it's just normal pregnancy kind of thing, then he goes, I'm all in. Which was amazing, because not every husband would have been okay with their wife carrying a child for other people. I mean, that's kind of a really big deal. So, we went, all four of us, which was my sister, her husband, and Josh and I, and we went and sat down and spoke to the fertility specialist. Would you like to
Oh, well,
add anything?
I just, my biggest thing was the safety of Dina. That was my biggest concern. I thought it was honorable what she was offering to do. I thought it was amazing what she was offering to do. I think it's amazing that we have the technology to do it. And then a lot of people say, well, why didn't they just adopt? Well, everybody has their reasons. Some people have the reasons for adoption.
And actually, I think they had looked into it. The problem is that my sister did have 2 biological children. That put her way far down on the list compared to childless couples.
But I love it how everybody gets judgmental. So you know what? just mind your business when it comes to that. That's all I have to say. It's like, just mind your business. She made the decision, and this is what happened. Anyway, so my big concern was that Dina was going to be,
right.
What were the possibilities of her dying, something going wrong, her being unable to have children in the future.
Children, right.
Lots of things. And he reassured me, and I felt comfortable with it. We talked about it and pretty much said, yeah, let's go ahead.
And
move
he
forward.
also, we did ask other questions, like what would happen to the unused eggs if there were any. We wanted to know that because for us, that was also a moral question that we needed to answer.
Mm-hmm.
We also wanted to know from my sister, which I felt like I already knew the answer to this, but I felt like I needed to actually hear it, which was if you, God forbid, have a child who, say, has Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or anything,
any birth defect whatsoever,
then what? Because that's also because I'm facilitating to help bring this child into the world. I have to know, what's going to happen there. And then the other,
but there wasn't ever really a question.
No,
we actually had to verbalize it.
I wanted to verbalize it,
we
but
had to,
I already felt like I knew the answer.
Yeah, and
which
we got the answer
did.
right. Yeah, exactly.
The other question I had was, and I wanted to be sure. I said I needed to be sure that this child biologically is not my child. In other words, for me, it was important. I think it's amazing and wonderful women that are willing to donate their eggs for childless couples. I can't say that I'm that selfless. I can't. I felt like any child that comes from my egg is my child, and it would be hard for me to give that baby away. So this was going to be 100% my sister's child and her husband's child, and I was going to be the oven. That's it. I was going to be the oven, taking care. And the way I viewed it at the time was, it's like babysitting. If my sister had gotten sick and couldn't take care of a child she already had, I would have absolutely taken that child in. I would have cared for that child as my own. But when it was time for her to get that baby back, I would have gladly given that baby back. So to me, that's how I viewed it. It's like I was babysitting until my sister could then take over.
Right. And we babysat for, 9 months. Babysat.
The whole process took about a year and a half.
Right. The process about a year and a half. Well, I think that's probably a good place to stop before we get into me having fun. Now, I didn't have as much fun. Okay. Kirk had the most fun of everybody. Just throw that out. Yeah. He had the most fun of any of us.
That's my brother-in-law.
Right. Then I would say I had the second best. And I'll get into that later. Then I would say
it was pretty funny. It's one of our big stories.
And then I would say I'm not so sure. I think then it would be Lori, and you had the worst because you actually had to go through the things. Well, anyway, yeah. There's some stuff out there that's going to be fun coming up. So if you want to hear all of those kind of things, you got to listen. Yeah, some fun stuff in there too. So you got to listen. So come and listen next week's show. Okay, tune in next week, and I don't know if we'll get the whole story finished, but we got a lot to talk about.
We told you it was a crazy ride, guys.
It is a crazy ride, so hang on. All right, coming up, Moonshine Safari. Man, we tried something good. It's
awesome.
It's a little burny. All right, be right back.
Get out your glasses. It's time for the Moonshine Safari drinks and recipes.
Welcome back to Moonshine Safari, everybody. I'm Josh.
I'm Dina.
Hey, are you thirsty?
I always am thirsty.
Oh, man. Have I got something for you to try today? We have tried once again Old Smokey Distillery. Oh, yeah. Old Smokey. They know how to get it done, y'all. All right. Old Smokey Blue Flame. What?
Wow.
Blue Flame. That's right. Blue Flame. Blue Flame is 128 proof.
It's a little rough for me, ladies.
It'll burn the hair off your tongue, let me just tell you. Now, I'll tell you that the first hit on it, the first, to me, before it gets to the burn, which is almost instantaneous, is fruity to me. It tastes quite fruity. And on the bottle, it does say that it's made from corn and cane. Okay? Which that's not what the White Lightning says. So I'm wondering if they add some kind of, distilled cane, which might be rum or something or whatever there is. But If you haven't seen it, it comes in a cool bottle. It's blue, like Blue Flame, but the whiskey is not blue. Sorry to disappoint. The bottle is blue. So when you pour it out into a glass, it's not blue.
It's still clear.
It's still clear. Which is a little sad because it'd be kind of cool if it was blue too, but the jar is pretty cool. So what can you use for that? Heck, you could use that for anything that you want to. It's just like the other, which is 100 proof, the White Lightning. But if you want to make your own vanilla, okay, like people use Everclear to do that, you could use this Blue Flame. It would be the same. It would be not as strong as Everclear, but it would get the job done.
We've made the vanilla
no
like
problem.
that too. It's pretty cool.
We made the vanilla actually in the 100 proof, and it worked perfectly. I mean, you could drink it and it tastes fine. It's not like drinking vanilla out of those little.
Well, because it's not sugary.
Right? It's good. It's very good. So there it is. Old Smokey, Blue Flame. Blue Flame. Well, that's the show, Dana.
That was awesome, Josh.
That was it. That's it. Hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again this week. We really appreciate it. Go and subscribe and click all the clicky clicks you're supposed to click whenever you go to our stuff that you're supposed to go to and all this after the show, right?
And if you're digging it, we have the Patreon page.
Yeah, and we'd like for you to kind of sign up on that too and subscribe and send us some emails and some shout-outs and feedback and that kind of stuff.
And we really do want the feedback.
We do, because we would like to start doing some giveaways, but
Absolutely.
you can't really do those if we don't have
to be
anybody to give it
careful
away
with the whole
to.
Moonshine, but we have some really cool
merchandise
coming.
Yeah. We can't give out liquor, but we've got some Moonshine Safari special stuff that we're designed. Dina has designed and Robin has designed, and we've got some special stuff that we might do giveaways or auctions or some other stuff for charity or whatever. But guys, we need your help, so
we need
sign up, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and stay tuned next week for upcoming fun. And we'll see you then.
See you guys later.
Shine happens, everybody.
Shine happens.
Bye.
Hey y'all, welcome to Moonshine Safari. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as well as check the description for information on our social media sites, as well as our Patreon account to help support our adventures in the Moonshine Wilderness.